Hello and welcome to today's video on high altitude investing. So today's video is going to be 3 predictions I made, and these are predictions I made in about a 2 months period of time in which I'm showing you. So I'm going to show you a little slideshow. It's Ethereum, DCR, and let's see, what was the other one on that list? I'm pretty sure it was Dash. Yeah, Dash. So yeah, I'm just going to show you that little slideshow of the predictions, and then I'm going to go over how I went about making these predictions, and then I'm going to go over some, just the Poloniex market super quickly because there's some stuff happening with like Bitcoin Plus, and I want to discuss some things and let you guys know what my thoughts are on that. So yeah, we'll just get right into today's video. Also, I'm planning a live stream tonight because I couldn't do one yesterday. Yesterday I got 1,000 subscribers, by the way, so thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Every like and comment and subscriber and share really goes a long ways to making this channel keep going. I got a Bitcoin tip jar right there if you want to check that out. But yeah, let's get right into this video. So enough me talking, and we'll check out these charts. So DCR is another one that made it to my list, and this looks like a bottom formation and a breakout pattern. Excuse me. So this is one that I'm definitely looking at. I have invested in. It's up 10% today and has 277 Bitcoin in volume, and it looks like it just came up and tested this first resistance level at 38%. So DCR is one that I'm looking at, and definitely a good investment in my eyes. Ethereum is doing something very awesome today. Basically, since it kind of bottomed out around here, I've been weary of buying it. I wanted to kind of see what happened. This right here really scared me when it started to drop off like this. I kind of figured that it was just a little pump out for its downtrend, but that's not the case. I mean, it's up almost 11% today. It has ridiculous volume. We're almost at 10,000 Bitcoin in volume. And we've seen a nice pump, a nice breakout of its bottom resistance zone. Its bottom resistance was 0.00, well, I guess this is support, 0.011. So it broke, it broke high from support, and it's looking really nice. I expect a nice trend up inside of Ethereum in the next little while. So it's what I've been keeping my eye on. Okay, now Dash is one that I've been buying up for a minute now, telling people to buy on my channel and around here mainly, and I think it's going to keep doing what it's doing, which is forming a trend line here. This coin, I think, will take a lot of the value off of XMR for a minute, but we'll see what happens. It really depends on if it gets added to a market or somewhere that people are going to start using it. Like XMR is used a lot, and same with Bitcoin. And you know, if this gets added to some type of market, like a darknet market or, you know, whatever, then this will show significant growth. And I think it's going to just show significant growth coming into February anyways, at least coming to test this area right here. So that's my thoughts on Dash. You know, I could make the Dash logo real quick. Troll. Anyways, so Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is how I went about making my DCR prediction. This was part of my top 10 altcoins for February video, and this is basically how I went about making that prediction. So first of all, I want to point out a couple things. When I made these predictions, I used 0 indicators except for volume. So I was only using volume at the time I made these predictions, volume and price action. So just standard, you know, you could do this with any chart using these methods. Something else I wanted to point out is that I only used patterns. So patterns and volume are the two most important things that went behind making these predictions that I'm going to show you. But I will point out some things on the indicators I have here, which also pointed towards this type of a move in the market. So, when I went into this trade, it was purely because of volume and price action. So, when I went into this trade, I pointed out in the video, somewhere around in here, that I mentioned to go long. And the reason is because of this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So here's a pattern that formed. This is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Here's the 1 point, here's the 2 point, and here's the 3 point. So the way that works is it's like a triangle shape. The 1 point is defined by a new low that the market reaches. The 2 point is defined by a high after that low. So if we zoom in here, here's that high after that low. And the 3 point is defined by coming back down to test that previous low that it made, the 1, and not breaking below that low. So you see how it came down right here and then pumped back up. So that shape right there is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. You usually look to buy when it breaks out of the 2 point. So a 1, 2, 3 bottom trader would be looking to buy somewhere around in this area here at 0.00061 Bitcoin. Now, like I said, it was mainly volume. So volume's a huge indication of where price action will go down the road. If you have a lot of volume, then that usually means a very healthy market. But that doesn't always mean that. You can have a downtrend in a lot of volume. Look at Zcash, for example, when it was first released, and you'll see that there's a lot of volume but straight downtrend, and that's because of the supply and demand gap. There was really low supply, high demand, so it started out at a really high price, and then as that supply increased and the demand decreased, you can see the volume, and the volume stayed pretty high, but the price still dropped afterwards. So that's how I went about making that DCR trade, was mainly volume in a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and then a breakout pattern. So that's what that is. So when it makes a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and then breaks high, that's called a breakout pattern. So this is a breakout that happened, and that's how I went about making that prediction. And just to be clear, so the percentages I drew in that video were not, I mean, I didn't exactly calculate it. Those were just rough estimates, but the percentage that this trade actually made was 2,064%. So for every $1, you get 20 back. That's a pretty good trade, if you ask me. Well, 19 back, technically, a little over 19, but that's a pretty good trade, if you ask me. Now, like I said, I'd point out a couple things on the indicator side that would have pointed this trade out if I was using indicators to nail this trade. First of all, the RSI was showing oversold. So relative strength index, that's just the strength of the market in any direction. So it had been oversold for a minute here. It was coming into this area below the purple. So it was showing oversold all through this span of time. And, you know, it's still holding true to that it's still oversold because it's significantly increased in price since then. The other thing is this right here is the MACD crossover. So that stands for Moving Average Convergence Divergence. And the way that this indicator is calculated is a little bit complicated, the way that it's made. But just understand that you're looking for a crossover of these two lines in the background. See these lines? You're looking for what's called a crossover. So when they cross the center point here, this 0 line, when they cross the center, either if they cross up, then that's a buy signal. So it crossed up right through here. So that would have been a buy signal on the MACD. And then it crossed up again right here. So that would have been another good entry point using the MACD on this with 1-day candlesticks, by the way. These are 1 day. So that's a pretty good buy signal. And we haven't had sellout yet on either of these indicators. Just so you know. Now, that doesn't mean we won't have sellout, but we aren't selling out in these markets yet. So, now, let's go over to the next one in the video. So, let's check out Ethereum. So, again, there's Ethereum, Bitcoin, Poloniex. That's the most accurate. Okay. So, again, I calculated the percentage after I made that, and it's exactly 338% instead of 400, but I was just doing rough estimates in the video when I recorded that. Now, what made me get this Ethereum trade? Well, first of all, this is called a rounded bottom formation. This is something I pointed out in one of my videos. I don't think it was in exactly the one that I showed you guys at the start, but I talked about this rounded bottom formation. And I'll also talk about a little bit that, you know, when I go into the Dash trade. But the main thing was volume. So there was a huge increase in volume right here and a secondary increase in volume right here. And so that was telling me that it could be possibly bottoming out. So again, you're looking for a 1, 2, 3 bottom shape or a triangle bottom, depending on what you want to call it. Now that's a pretty, you know, simple thing that happens in markets is you'll see it hit a new low, come back, try to test below that low, fails to break below, and then therefore continues breaking high afterwards. But really, what honestly got me to really go in on Ethereum wasn't the rounded bottom formation, wasn't the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Those were just good indications that I was on the right track in this trade. What really told me that I was on the right track, though, was pure price action. Again, indicators are useful. They have their place, but you don't want to rely completely on indicators because they're never perfect. But price action usually gives you more accurate signals. And this is what's called a bullish engulfing candlestick. So if you look in Google, bullish engulfing, you can find the same candlestick. Basically, it means that the bullish candle, or the green candle, so bullish means up and bearish means down, the bullish candle is engulfing the size of the bearish candle. So the bullish candle comes after the bearish, and it's engulfing, so the body of the candle, the green point from here to here, is engulfing the red point from here to here. So it's taller than the red one is. Now, that's a pretty common signal, and it generally means a huge buy. So that's what really sealed the deal for Ethereum on me. Now I did talk about how when it came down to here, it scared me a little bit, but I held in, you know, and then it made, again, a 1, 2, 3 bottom continuation. So it made a little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here. Reason it's a continuation is because it isn't a new low. It's a previous low, but it's a continuation of this trend. So it began an uptrend, and then, you know, we saw a little downtrending, but it made another 1, 2, 3 bottom and continued on that trend. So that's why it was a continuation pattern. Again, this trade was about 338% in a 2-month period of time. So that's really, really good gains. Now, let's check out Dash. Dash is one of my favorite, well, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite, that's kind of a lie. But I will say that I've made a lot of money trading it, and because of that, I tend to like it, even though I hate it. There's a lot of things I hate about it. I have a love-hate relationship with Dash, all right? But I'll go over some main things here that I seen that pointed me towards this trade. Again, 2-month period of time, and with Dash, we saw over 700%. Well, it was actually exactly 700% from when I called the trade, which I thought was pretty interesting. Now, a couple things that pointed out this trade to me was I've been watching Dash since heavily. I've been heavily watching Dash since this volume increase and breakout pattern that happened December of 2015 when we had this bottom formation here, and then a breakout pattern. So we broke high after that bottom. It's a really common thing that happens, and really what turned me on to Dash was Lumbridge City, and I'm going to give you guys a promotion code to his course at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But I was watching one of his videos and he pointed out this bottom formation clear back 2015, so huge shout out to Lumbridge City. And I started trading Dash, you know, started doing a little bit of trading, started finding some entry points, watching it really closely. I liked the volume, but it was just, you know, it was trending upwards, but it was taking a long time. I mean, yes, I talked about it a lot. If you watch my altcoin price overviews, which I've been uploading for over a year now, so once a week for over a year, and then I started uploading daily recently. But I noticed that Dash was trending, but it seemed like it was having a really, really, really hard time breaking high for considering how many Dash there were. So I was pointing out available supply. That was another thing that really got me for Dash, was available supply. Again, volume and available supply are really, really important factors. But what I was really noticing was it seemed oversold. So I noticed that there was about 7 million Dash. This is exactly how JP Morgan actually would buy companies, was he would look and see if he felt like it was undervalued or oversold, depending on how you want to look at it. He would look to see if it was undervalued. If it was undervalued and it was easy for him to purchase within his means, he would buy that company. He wouldn't even buy the stock. He would just buy the company and completely leave it how it was. Let them run the way they are. You know, let it run with the way they like to run their company. Because, you know, if you touch something that's already working good, you could destroy it if you're not careful. So if it's working good, why would you touch it? That was his logic, was buy undervalued things. I felt like the Dash blockchain was undervalued. There was only 7 million in circulating supply. It was similar technology to Monero, which had double the available supply. Yes, double the demand because of Alphabet, but you know, that was something that was mainly happening in that period of time. Now we're seeing a steady increase in Dash. Yes, it's pulled back from its high, and you know, from here there's no saying exactly where it will go. I do these predictions and I can be pretty accurate, and these ones I was very, very accurate, in fact, but I can never tell you exactly where it's going. I will say that with Dash specifically, I would expect an equal pullback, mainly because of masternode issues, some legal stuff that's going on. But we'll see. But I do expect a relatively equal pullback, at least into this range. So that's what I'm seeing in Dash, because it's had this pretty good channel right here that's been following along the top. It's been following a pretty good channel there for a long time, which was another thing that pointed out this trade to me, was that it was trending in one direction for a long time, which was up. So if I pull this bottom, you can see that it's been trending up in this channel for a long time. And channels are really, really good. If you see something trending in a channel like this, it can be a huge, huge buy signal, especially since it bottomed out a second time right here. But let's go and let's look exactly what made me get this trade on the secondary entry point, which is where I called in this video. So I was calling in this video along this area right here that Dash would increase in value. Now what really pointed this to me was a bottom formation. So we saw bottoming out here, and then an increase in volume. So again, volume, bottom formation, and breakout. That seems to be the trick. Well, I mean, there's no one trick, right? But it seems to work very, very well. Volume, bottom formation, breakout. Or, well, actually it goes bottom formation plus volume and then breakout. But yeah, so what I'm seeing is the fact that, this does look pretty bearish right now, just so you know. I could be wrong, but it looks kind of bearish right now, as far as down the road trading goes. I better go over Ethereum down the road and DCR real quick, because I want to give you my future thoughts on them. But I will point out a couple things that on the indicator side, which if I would have been using indicators, I wasn't. It's just using price action and volume. On the indicator side, we had a MACD crossover. So these two lines in the background cross over the center like that. So we had a MACD crossover, and that would have been a buy signal in this area. And we had an oversold signal right here. That would have been a buy signal in this area, which both would have been excellent entry points considering how much this trade went up afterwards. On my Twitter, I did actually point out this trade. So let me go to media. I think I've pointed this out in a couple of my videos in the past too. Where is it here? I want to show you this because, oh, by the way, you can add me on Snapchat at High Altitude INV, or my personal one at SeerGames, SeerGames. That's right here. This is my personal Snapchat. This is in media under my tweets. But let me show you. Oh, shout out to Dash. Let me show you what really, really pointed out this trade for me. What sold me on this trade. Come on. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So, I posted this February 17th. This is what's called a rounded bottom formation that happened right here in Dash. And I said long-term buy signal. And I was telling people to buy Dash. And that was at 0.019 Bitcoin. And it went up to 0.1 Bitcoin plus. So, well, you know what I mean, not Bitcoin plus. I know all the rave over Bitcoin plus right now. But yeah, I posted that on Twitter, right? And that would have been a huge, huge profitable trade. And that's, that's me posting that on social media for you guys. So I know a lot of people actually made quite a bit off of my Dash trade, and somebody donated me 0.56 Dash. I really, really appreciate that. That's $56 at the time. That was a lot of money for me. So Well, relatively, but as far as a donation goes, that's a big sum. So thank you guys for doing that. Now I'll just quickly go over my thoughts on the two other ones as far as what's going to happen now. I will say that in DCR we're having what's called railroading, where these candlesticks have the bodies at this, they open and close in similar spots, and it looks like a railroad, right? Just up and then down, so pump and then dump in that area. And it's railroading back up right now. Now I wouldn't be surprised if we hit some resistance and come back, but I will say that with the type of volume and stuff, it wouldn't surprise me too if we kept breaking high. But as far as what I'm looking for is a small pullback and a better entry point. I don't know exactly where it's going to pull back to, but I can tell you that my guess would be that it does pull back in the next little while. It's just too parabolic, it's called. So that's when something comes clear up like this and then comes back down, right? So in markets, there's lots of symmetry or symmetric movement. And so you see pump up, and then you can usually, not always, but you can usually expect an equal pullback. That happened in XMR, that happened in Bitcoin, or at least a pretty close to equal. It might catch support a little bit above its previous, but a pretty close to equal pullback. You can see how it caught support right there, a little bit above its previous high. So that's definitely what I'm looking for, is a small pullback in DCR. And as far as Ethereum goes, I'm kind of on the boat that Ethereum isn't done pumping yet. So it is parabolic, so it is very, very inflated in value right now, so that's something you want to keep in mind. But it doesn't actually look like it's hit too much resistance. I don't see any bearish engulfing. I don't see any price action that's telling me downtrend yet. Now, I will say that, MACD is really high, overbought is pretty high, and it's really high in value. So it could pull back, but I'm not seeing that the price action is telling me pullback yet. So I think that Ethereum may pump up and break its high one more time before Bitcoin, goes on its run, because I kind of feel like Bitcoin is going to run, and if everything falls through with if everything goes through with the fork properly, then I think Bitcoin will do really well, actually, because of the fork. Now, let's look at Bitcoin Plus and what I kind of think is happening here, because this is a big one. A lot of people have really been asking me what my thoughts are and why it's doing this. I'll tell you why it's doing this. It's because there's 90,000. So there's basically zero supply. That's why it's worth $72. If any demand comes into it with that low of a supply, each one has to be worth a lot. There's only ever going to be 1 million Bitcoin Plus. 1 million. If you look on their website, maximum total coins is 1 million. Inflation rate is fixed at 20% per year. So it's very, very specific. There's only ever 1 million coins, and we only have 94,000 right now. So therefore, if demand increases, low supply, high price. That's usually what happens. Now, because of that, if demand stays where it's at, if we keep seeing this type of volume, so volume is a huge indicator of direction, remember that. Most of my biggest trades I caught from volume alone. So if we keep in this volume with XBC, I would not be surprised one bit if it keeps increasing in value, just because of the way that it works. Supply and demand is a very fundamental thing in trading and economics in general, but really that's why these currencies are designed to increase in value. That's why Bitcoin has such a good track record, is because of supply and demand. So that's, whereas a normal US currency, the supply and the demand curve is so messed up that you just lose value. And this is a deflationary currency, its properties make it deflationary because of high demand, low supply. So that's the same concept that drove Zcash's price down at the start. It's the same concept that drove Bitcoin's price to where it's at. And it's the same concept that drove Ethereum's and Dash's and Monero's. It's the same concept that's very, very fundamental to trading. Volume, supply and demand. Be paying high attention to those things. So that's basically my theory. Obviously, it's pump and dumpers to a certain extent, so there's people profiting off of this coin. And, you know, in the stock world, you'd get arrested for that. In cryptocurrency, you can't yet. So we'll see what happens there. But it would not surprise me if Bitcoin Plus keeps going up, or at least pumps up some more. So be watching. Keep a close eye on it because of those factors. If demand stays, price will generally increase. So with that low of a supply. So that's basically what today's video is about. That's what I wanted to run over with you guys. That's why I feel like these coins are doing so well. Now I will say that low supply doesn't always mean that it's going to be a huge increase in value, right? The demand has to be there. And I'll show you an example where high supply and high demand right now is still driving that market up in value. So Litecoin. Litecoin is one that I've been mining. I showed people how to mine it in MinerGate last year. And we've had a 633% increase recently. And look at the supply. There's so many Litecoin, but because the demand is still high, it doesn't matter that the supply is so high because it's still driving the market up in value. So that's, you know, something you want to look at. It can be a factor. That's, you know, value matters so much, but price change matters a lot, right? So percentage change matters a lot because it doesn't necessarily matter how much it costs to buy something, but more how much you'll make from buying it. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Price doesn't actually mean anything relatively. It's price action that means things. So volume and percentage change, that usually means more than just price alone. So yeah, definitely some things to be keeping in mind, some things to think about. Now I'll give you guys the promotion code for this course. Digital Currency Traders, you guys can check out the 2 free courses. This is digitalcurrencytraders.com. This is by Lumbridge City. Like I said, he was the one that, you know, pointed me towards Stash back in 2015 when it was bottoming clear out. He has a course. It's only $449, and with a lifetime membership and a welcome into his course and community, you can learn a lot from taking this course. I highly recommend it, and you can use my promotion code to get 20% off. So that's a pretty big shave off of the price of this course. And for what it's valued at, it's basically a steal in my opinion for what you can get from this type of immersive community and people, you know, talking to you and getting back to you on any questions. Speaking of which, join my Discord chat. We've always got people on here. XBC is a headache, you know, they're always talking about something on here. Lumbridge City, he's part of here. You know, we've always got at least 20, 19, 20 people on, sometimes way more than that, just on here ready to talk and discuss what you feel is happening in the market with them. So join my Discord chat. You can go ahead and join by going to my channel and clicking Discord chat channel. Again, huge shout out for the 1,000 subscribers. Pay attention for my live stream tonight at 7 p.m. Mountain Central Time, or Mountain Standard Time, excuse me. So MST, 7 p.m. That's also Denver time. But yeah, so be watching out for that. Again, Digital Currency Traders, my promotion code altitude 20, so make sure you get that right. Altitude20, and you can get 20% off lifetime membership and course, and I highly recommend checking that one out. So yeah, anyways, you can donate to me if, like usual, if you feel like this content helps you. I've got the tip jar right there, donations in the description for Ethereum and alts. Yeah, I really appreciate all of that. And let me know if you guys learned something, if you want me to change anything, any suggestions, stuff like that. Always trying to grow and make this channel better. So just let me know if you have anything. Thanks for tuning in today. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and always stay profitable.